Welcome back to Football Daily. With the transfer window now closed, Man United have endured another difficult summer in the market. So we've constructed a side of the best players the Red Devils tried and failed to sign over the years. Let's go. Goalkeeper, Manuel Neuer. With David De Gea only recently showing signs that he may no longer be the ever-reliable stopper he once was, Man United haven't had to worry about signing goalkeepers for a while. But back in 2011, the club could have bought a different player between the sticks, as they searched for a replacement for the retiring Edwin van der Sar. Manuel Neuer seemed like the man. At 24, he'd already been Schalke's number one for 5 seasons, had helped Germany reach the semi-finals of the previous summer's World Cup, and with just a year remaining on his contract, looked set to leave the German club. United were interested, and having witnessed him put in a man-of-the-match display against his side in the Champions League semi-finals, Sir Alex Ferguson told the press, "That was the best performance I've ever seen from a goalkeeper in a match against us." However, with Bundesliga giants Bayern Munich circling the stopper, the Red Devils couldn't get near Neuer, and he signed for the Bavarians that summer. But there was a silver lining. United goalkeeping coach Eric Steele convinced Ferguson that 20-year-old Spanish keeper David De Gea was a better option anyway, and they quickly snapped up the Atletico Madrid prodigy. Right back, Sergio Ramos. But one player United were unable to lure from Madrid was Sergio Ramos. Having got them back into the Champions League in his first season in charge, Louis van Gaal was looking to upgrade the club's back line in the summer of 2015, and with the legendary Spanish defender in dispute over a new contract at the Bernabeu, it seemed the perfect time to strike. Ramos, then 29, had just 2 years remaining on his deal in Madrid, and United lodged a £28.6 million bid with the Spanish giants, with reports at the time suggesting they were willing to offer him a significant wage increase too. But after 2 months of media speculation, in which journalists claimed the Champions League winner had agreed personal terms with United worth €55 million, it was announced that Ramos had signed a 5-year new deal with Los Blancos, with the player saying, "My heart and head have always been with Real Madrid." But while it initially seemed United had simply been used for Ramos to get a better deal in Spain, he later revealed that he had considered the English club's offer, though money had never been a driving factor in his decision to stay in Spain. Nevertheless, Van Gaal landed no centre-backs that summer and had to persevere with Smalling and Blind the following season. Centre-back, Mats Hummels. Mats Hummels has never left German shores in his highly esteemed career, but there's no doubt the ball-playing centre-half would have seriously upgraded a Red Devils defence, which has looked less than competent on a number of occasions in recent years. Initially linked to Man United in Van Gaal's first summer at the club in 2014, Hummels saw himself as a Borussia Dortmund lifer at the time, while manager Jurgen Klopp laughed off reports of a €20 million bid. But 5 years later, there seemed more scope for the German defender swapping the Bundesliga for Old Trafford, when he made his decision to leave Bayern Munich. However, while United made an approach for him, he instead opted to return to Dortmund despite the prospect of a bigger wage packet in England. Apparently, the club's failure to qualify for the Champions League swayed Hummels in favour of a move back to BVB. Centre-back, Matthijs de Ligt. When Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was appointed Man United manager in 2019, he made clear his desire to focus on the ideals for which the club had become famous in its glory years, namely investing in and developing young talent as a means for long-term success. Ajax captain Matthijs de Ligt was one such talent who'd been linked with the club for some time, and the highly rated young centre-back was seen as a solution to the side's faltering defence. And after helping guide his side to an unlikely Champions League semi-final, it was only a matter of time until serious offers came in for his signature. However, United was slow to act, with some reports at the end of the season suggesting they had pulled out of the race to sign him, and others intimating that they did in fact have an agreement in place with Ajax. Either way, De Ligt chose Juventus, and Man United ended up paying even more than them for Harry Maguire. Left back, Sergio Reguilon. One of Man United's most embarrassing sagas in the transfer market post-Alex Ferguson was their failure to sign Leighton Baines from Everton in 2013. But 7 years later, they proved no better at securing their number one left-back target, seeing Sergio Reguilon sign for Premier League rivals Tottenham instead. The Spanish international and Real Madrid Academy product had impressed on loan at Sevilla in the 2019-20 campaign, and subsequently attracted interest from across Europe, but favoured a move to Old Trafford. However, with Los Blancos insisting on a buyback clause, United backed out of a deal, leaving the door open for Spurs to take advantage. While the possibility of the player returning to Madrid further down the line was clearly not ideal, there was equally a possibility that, given a key role at Old Trafford, the 23-year-old would have opted to stay in the Premier League even when presented with the opportunity of a move back to Spain. United decided not to take the risk, but it may have been worthwhile for one of Europe's best young fullbacks. Instead, they settled for their second choice, Alex Telles. Right midfield, Jadon Sancho. Kicking off our four-man midfield is right winger Jadon Sancho, who at one stage was odds-on to join Man United and upgrade the club's attack to world-beating levels. As early as April 2020, Fabrizio Romano reported that Sancho was keen on the move, that personal terms were basically agreed, and that Borussia Dortmund would sell at the right price. And by the summer, it was clear United would face zero competition for the Englishman's signature. Dortmund valued him at €120 million, a hefty sum but not out of this world considering what has been paid for Mbappe, João Felix and Ousmane Dembele in seasons past. But even when presented with an August 10th deadline, the club were unwilling to meet the asking price, and negotiations subsequently broke down, with the eventuality of Jadon Sancho handing in a transfer request never materialising. By the middle of September, BVB chief Sebastian Kehl had confirmed the player would be staying put in Germany, while reports of United persevering with a £75 million plus add-ons offer continue to do the rounds, with no sign of any viable alternatives arriving at Old Trafford either. A saga which showcased the very height of incompetence from the Red Devils hierarchy. Central midfield, Thiago Alcantara. 2013 marked the beginning of a new era at Old Trafford, with Sir Alex Ferguson retiring after 26 years in the dugout, David Gill leaving after 10 years as chief executive, and David Moyes and Ed Woodward coming in to replace them. And it could also have been the start of an exciting revamp of United's central midfield, generally neglected since the signing of Michael Carrick in 2006, and in need of major surgery following the retirement of Paul Scholes. Tipped to join the club was Barcelona's highly rated Thiago Alcantara, and with a reported £17 million deal apparently set up by Ferguson for his successor, it was up to Moyes to complete the transfer of one of Europe's most sought-after midfielders. However, the incoming manager stalled on the deal, and on account of not knowing the 22-year-old well enough, opted instead to target his Barca teammate Cesc Fabregas. By the time that pursuit failed, Thiago had joined up with Pep Guardiola at Bayern Munich, and 7 years later, the Spaniard signed for Liverpool, further widening the gap in quality that has opened up between United and their bitter rivals. Central midfield, Toni Kroos. But a year later, Moyes came close to securing a world-class midfielder off his own back. In 2020, Toni Kroos revealed that a deal for him to join Man United had basically been done back in 2014, with the then United boss personally meeting the German midfielder to agree terms. However, when Moyes was sacked that April, the transfer was thrown into uncertainty, with new manager Louis van Gaal busy with the Netherlands national team ahead of the 2014 World Cup. During the tournament, newly appointed Real Madrid boss Carlo Ancelotti made his move, and Kroos was confirmed as a Madridista 4 days after lifting the coveted trophy with Germany, moving from Bayern to the Bernabeu for £10 million less than United paid Athletic Bilbao for Ander Herrera that summer. Kroos would go on to win 3 Champions Leagues with Real, while Herrera, though a fan favourite at Old Trafford, eventually left the club for free in 2019, with the 3 managers he played under unable to mount a serious title challenge during his 5 years in Manchester. Left midfield, Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale has been linked with Man United in almost every transfer window, with the Welsh winger the subject of heavy interest from the Red Devils during the tenures of Moyes, Van Gaal and Mourinho, with his return to Tottenham in 2020 putting to bed any chance of his ever running out at Old Trafford. But United came close to capturing him before he signed for Spurs the first time round. Sir Alex Ferguson was one of Bale's greatest admirers when he came through at Southampton, and it was generally expected he would land the exciting teenage left-back. However, United's bid was rejected by the Saints, and Tottenham quickly secured his services with an improved offer of £10 million. It wasn't seen as a huge failure at the time, with United already boasting Patrice Evra at left-back and signing Tevez and Nani that summer. But Cristiano Ronaldo left 2 years down the line, and by the end of 2010, Bale was already looking like a man who could have done a decent job replacing the Portuguese maestro at Old Trafford. Forward, Alan Shearer. Alan Shearer was the hottest property in English football during the 1990s, and yet Man United, far and away the country's most dominant side in that period, couldn't get their hands on him, and it wasn't for want of trying. In 1996, Alex Ferguson made his second play for the striker, having initially missed out on him 4 years earlier. And at one point it looked like Shearer was on his way to Old Trafford, having met with Ferguson and agreed personal terms, despite his request to take penalties ahead of Eric Cantona being rejected by the Scottish manager. However, he'd also held positive talks with Newcastle boss Kevin Keegan, and his desire to return home and play for the club he supported growing up ultimately decided his future. Shearer went on to score 148 Premier League goals for the Magpies, becoming the competition's all-time top scorer in the process, but never won any silverware at St James's Park. Ferguson, meanwhile, used the money he would have spent on Shearer on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Teddy Sheringham. Forward, Erling Haaland. The most talked about teenager in world football during the 2019-20 season, Erling Haaland's outrageous scoring record for Red Bull Salzburg garnered him the attention of Europe's top clubs, and Man United quickly became favourites to sign him. The Norwegian striker had originally been signed by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for Molde when he was 16, and their relationship was seen as a big advantage in United's pursuit. However, the deal never happened, and Haaland signed instead for Borussia Dortmund for just €20 million. Predictably, there was much speculation afterwards as to how United's approach for the youngster fell through, with some pointing to the club's difficult relationship with Mino Raiola and others laughably suggesting the club couldn't meet Haaland's wage demands. The striker later revealed that he simply felt Dortmund was the best move for his career, and judging by the German club's recent history at developing young players, it's not hard to see why. So those were our players that Man United missed out on, but who did we leave out and who would you have included? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, drop us a like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell to never miss a video. We'll see you next time.